Brian, you came back here now to the Chicago area, and I know you're a golfer, as many hockey players are. So, why are you looking at me like?
No, I'm just. No.
This is a good question. There's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried about a quiz.
So no quizzes. Name some of your favorite golf courses in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area.
I play at Beverly a lot, so I really like that course.
And that's on what side of town?
It's on the south side.
There you go. Okay.
So it's a lot of fun, but there's so many good golf courses, you know, public ones, private ones, whatever. So it's actually good, kind of good for the off season to kind of get away from everything a little bit. So there's many good golf courses, obviously, in the city that I'm sure a lot of people have played at.
So who on the team from the Blackhawks that you have played with thinks they're a good golfer and they really aren't?
I play with a few guys.
And you have to name names.
Taves wants to be a good golfer. But when the ball goes this way and then that way, and then his clubs go that way and this way.
He's a club thrower. Taves is a club thrower.
Yeah.
Riding in a golf cart with him for 18 holes is not fun.
All right, we have a question from Marianne in Oak Lawn. Scott, where is your favorite place to hang out when you go back to Lamont? And just realize when you say this, only about 20,000 people will be there the next time you're hanging out there.
I mean, there's only like 4 places to hang out in Lamont, so this is a big question for me to answer. There's a new place in Lamont, Jealous Osmos Pizza. It's a really cool place. That's probably the last place that I went to in Lamont, so I'd say there.
Okay. Randy from Niles wants to know if any of you guys have any family that are huge Blackhawk fans even before you were actually on the Blackhawks. Well, I would think Vinny and Ryan, right, and Scott, were your family all big Blackhawk fans?
My whole life.
How big?
Uncomfortably big.
Uncomfortably big? I'm afraid to ask you what that means.
It just means like I would have been at the convention this year if I didn't play for the team, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So does that make it hard, though, at all? Because do they give you advice? Do they complain about Coach Q's rotations and you not getting enough time in net?
Is that me or my family?
Your family.
No.
You better say family.
Yeah, it's definitely my family. Don't tell Q.
Right.
No, I mean, obviously everyone has an opinion, but it's just fun for me to be able to like bring them into this world and kind of get the experience.
Vinny, who's the biggest Blackhawk fan in your family? Extended family, anyone? Who's the biggest Blackhawk fan?
It's hard to pick. I mean, all my aunts and uncles and cousins, my parents. I think my dad used to have season tickets before I was born, so I think everyone's big fan. So.
Wait, does he still have season tickets?
Hopefully this year.
Ryan, who's the biggest Blackhawk fan in your family?
You know, I got a lot of family from, down south that, really don't know much about hockey, but
Like what's down south?
South Carolina.
Okay.
And, from me growing up playing, you kind of pushed them towards loving hockey. And over the past, 3-4 years when pro hockey started becoming a reality, especially after being drafted, got a lot of fans down there from, my aunts, my uncles, my grandmother. But locally, my grandfather's a big Blackhawks fan. Had season tickets pretty much his whole life. Going to the old stadium, and he works down at a metal foundry down here, right across from the UC. So a lot of fans in our family for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, Clarissa from Schaumburg has a question. Adam, and anyone else here, I guess Vinny, and for those who went the college hockey route, what do you think of the NCAA preparation, and how do you think it has improved against major junior in recent times? That's a hardcore question.
Wow, it's going deep a little bit.
Clarissa's going deep here.
I think it was great. For me, college was great.
So that's all I can speak on. But a funny story was there was Dave Boland and Troy Brower. We all turned pro the same year. Those guys went to major junior. I went to college. They had never done a load of laundry or gone grocery shopping before. They were 21 years old, and they said they had their billet family always doing that stuff for them. So I said, okay, well, you put the soap in here, you put the fabric softener in here, and you press start. And then here's how you work the dishwasher too, guys. You put a dish in, you put a little soap in, and press start, and it goes. So I guess for me, though, it was just you had a chance to live on your own, and you had to grow up quick, and you had to figure out how to, feed yourself, and when you had to have a schedule, and so for me, college helped me grow up.
I just thought of a story that I had heard about you, Adam. Your sister played hockey, right? Okay. Is it true that you once put her in your hockey duffel bag and rolled her down the stairs?
She deserved it.
That really happened.
That happened, yeah. She was bugging me.
How old was she at the time?
12 or 13.
Oh.
Yeah, I should have known better.
Okay, let's see, Matt from St. Charles. Let's see, how did it feel going through the Frozen Four? Did you ever lose hope in a game? This is the last session? No wonder, I'm like, who up here was in the Frozen Four? Okay, hang on. Let me find one. Okay, Kevin from Palatine. Do you notice how much youth hockey has grown in the Chicago area? Ryan, why don't you start there with that? How much has it grown since you were in youth hockey? Was like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, just about, yeah. For sure. I mean, new rinks being put up, hockey has really, really grown. I remember growing up, you never really saw, like when I was in elementary school, you never really saw Hawks jerseys or shirts or any of that type of stuff. But now you can't really go anywhere without seeing a jersey or a shirt or a flag or something. So that comes along with the winning tradition here, and it's really grown, and the city's definitely grown hockey-wise, and it's pretty awesome.
Okay, Ryan, this question's for you as well. James from Edison Park wants to know, and Vinny as well. We heard what you did for the 2010 or 2013 parade. Vinny, what did you do in 2010 or 2013?
I think the most recent one, I was at summer school at Notre Dame, so I didn't do much. I just watched it on TV. I didn't come to Chicago to celebrate, but it would have been a good time. But it was really fun seeing that, and hopefully another one in the future.
Okay, Adam, why is Chicago called the Windy City?
Wasn't it with, like, the people were bribing the politicians?
Very good.
Something like that, right? Close, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good. Let's see, what else do I have here? We did the lake. Oh, okay. Let's see. Vinny, can you name the interstates? And first of all, what do we call them in Chicago? We don't call them interstates. We call them...
Parking lots.
Highways? I don't know.
What's that?
Highways? Expressways?
Very good, expressways. Okay. So can you name them that are in the Chicagoland area?
I mean, I don't know the names of streets very well. I just know my way, but like 294, 90,
Okay. Wait,
Eisenhower,
there you go.
88, 55, 355.
8855, 290. You don't know the names?
No.
Do you know who Eisenhower was?
Back to school.
Notre Dame, right?
Only 2 years, so I got to go back.
Okay. Can anyone else name any of the expressways? Go ahead, Brian.
I get up really early in the morning, so I see the traffic with the girls, so I have the news on. Eisenhower, Stevenson, Tri-State, correct?
Sure.
Help me out. What's
Anaheim.
Kennedy.
Kennedy? Dan Ryan, yes, I did hear that.
And what's the one that goes off of 90 up north to the North Shore?
I don't go that way. I'm south side.
The
Edens,
Edens.
yes.
There you go. Let's see, Adam. Can you pronounce this city in the Chicagoland area? It's spelled DESPLAINES.
The Plains. Yeah?
That's the French. I know you're around a lot of French Canadians, right? So you're doing it, Des Plaines. Now, how do we pronounce that?
So we can put an S on that one.
Yes. Let's see. Scott, there's been such a long history. You mentioned Eddie Belfour in Chicago with goaltenders. You've probably gotten to know a couple of them now. What has it been like meeting some of them and not only playing behind Corey Crawford, but also some of the other greats who are around the team a lot?
Yeah, I mean, there's a great goalie legacy here in Chicago. It's pretty cool to see Tony Esposito at the rink every day. He was my dad's favorite goalie. So it's great to call him, consider him a friend now, and then just showing up and walking in the locker room, getting dressed next to Corey Crawford is pretty cool. So yeah, it's a huge honor to be on the team and be a Blackhawk, especially with the great goalies who have played here before me.
So back in the 60s, Stan Mikita was one of the first players to play with a helmet, but he played most of his career without a helmet. So I'm going to go down the panel here, and I want you to name what teammate would be most likely to play without a helmet. We'll start with Brian.
Jeez. Yeah, that's on today's team? Because Adam, I don't think wore a helmet, let's be honest. Yeah, right now, Nicholas is, he doesn't even wear a visor. I think some of those shots come in pretty hard, so he's pretty, he's a daredevil out there.
Adam, who would be most likely at any point in your career, at any of your Blackhawk teammates, to not wear a helmet?
I think it'd be cool if Kane didn't, with the stripes in the side of his head and the mullet, and he skated around without a helmet on. I think that'd be killer. That would be cool. I like that haircut.
Ryan.
I can definitely see Daryl's going old school, showing off the beard.
I don't wear a helmet on the bench. So it's fine.
Vinny.
Hartman, though, they were saying in a couple of sessions I did that you got the best hair on the team, though, so I think you'd look pretty good with that flow.
Yeah,
but they
that's what I
said you
was-
spend a lot of time in front of the mirror getting that hair ready, though, too, so.
Funny story about that. My first game, we're getting ready for warm-ups, and car bomb hit my helmet right before warm-ups, and I was pretty panicked, getting ready to go out there. I had no helmet on. There's, looks like you're going out there with no helmet for warmies. So it's kind of terrifying, though, just, first game, but it's pretty funny.
Vinny, do you know the guys well enough to think who would go without the helmet, or would it be Brian to protect
I was
his
going
hair?
to say Hartsey, because I was waiting for him to get ready this morning. It took him 30 minutes to do his hair, so I hope it looks good for all you guys.
That's false.
Who uses the most product in that dressing room? Oh, who is it, Scott? Hartsey, really? You're not ashamed to say
I just use Vinny's. I don't really have any.
Brian, you come back to the Blackhawks, and Coach Q is still here. What changes have you seen in him in this short couple of weeks since you've been back? Are there any changes that you've seen with him?
No, there's no changes. which is what we want anyways. You don't want you don't want coaches flip-flopping and changing things all the time. You know what you're going to get with him, so it's kind of nice.
But he's like the king of the blender, though. I mean, he's always throwing in different concoctions. So let's talk about maybe the defensive pairings. Do you have an idea who you're going to be skating with, or who they might want you to skate with?
I heard the other day maybe Seabrook, but it doesn't really matter to me. There's a lot of good players, so it's if it happens to be him, that's great. But we'll see in training camp and go from there. But I know I know Dunks and Nicholas and Siebes and how they play, so I'd feel comfortable with any of them. And if it's somebody else, then it won't take too long to get adjusted as well.
Scott, what is it like to have a blue liner like Brian Campbell bringing to this team? What's it going to be like with him?
Hey, nobody was happier than the goalies when he signed with us. So,
It's an interesting group of defensemen. How would you describe those guys?
Smart, yeah. We had that panel the other day. If nobody is around, we are the smartest people on the team. We do smart things out there.
smart and handsome. That's how I
I don't know
describe
what
our D.
that was a good panel, though. Yeah.
Adam, you were talking about when you were on this team, a bunch of just young and dumb guys that just didn't know any better and just kind of flew with it. How have you matured?
Have I, Brian?
Wait. That question came from Helen Burrish.
I know the one funny thing we were talking about, we always, in the playoffs, go through other teams. So we go through, say if you're playing St. Louis, you would go through every player on their team, defense, and everybody has to get a player. So a defenseman usually gets a defenseman. And then we were playing San Jose, and it was kind of quick to the next round. It was San Jose, I think, and nobody had to do the work. Adam did all the work and wrote a song to it. So we're sitting around as he's carving these guys on San Jose playing his guitar in the room. So that's the camaraderie and the highlights and what Adam brings to a team. It was, I think Q was probably laughing the hardest out of anybody around there, but we'll go with how you've matured because that is a good question.
Adam, do you have anything to say to that?
I think I have. These guys would tell you I haven't matured very much and never was very mature, but I think I have. I tucked my shirt in today.
Yeah. I didn't recognize you.
Yeah, so I'm trying. I'm trying.
That's really good. Okay, the three Chicago guys right here. Who is buried in Hillside Cemetery off of 290? Now, you guys know 290, right? Yeah. You guys should know it, taking it in from the suburbs. It goes right to the United Center. Who is buried there? You know that big cemetery off of 290? Vinny, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No?
No, I do, but I just hope Scotty knows the answer because I don't think.
I'm really hoping Ryan knows it.
Ryan?
No clue. I don't know.
Really?
Can we get a hint?
Phone a friend. Yeah. How about you can pick someone out in the audience to help you answer that.
Does anyone here know?
Okay, with the hat on. Stand up. Al Capone.
Al Capone.
No.
Al Capone.
Got it.
So you're learning that Al Capone obviously had a huge history here in Chicago. Many people over the years like to bring that up. So when they find out that you're from the Chicagoland area, what is the first thing people ask you, Scott?
Either if it's windy or how are the hot dogs? Probably the top two answers.
Okay.
Questions. Yeah.
Vinny, do people most often ask you when they find out you're from Chicago?
I think they just first thing they say is, "Have you been to Illuminati's or Portillo's?" So
The food.
everyone just loves the food, I think.
The food, definitely.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about you? What's the number one thing that you get asked about with Chicago?
I was gonna say the same thing about the food. Everyone talks about the deep dish pizza and how good it actually is. I know a lot of people that you can actually order it frozen from all over the country, have it sent to you. So I know a few friends that do that pretty often. Yeah.
Absolutely. Adam, playing in Chicago, what's the one thing that you miss not being in Chicago?
Just the fans at the games, it was incredible. Like skating out for warm-ups is always fun, and the people, and but yeah, I think it was the fans in the games and that energy and that excitement just from warm-ups on, and you miss that. It's a rush. You miss that rush of the fans here, and I've played on other teams, and I'm not saying it because you guys are here. It's not the same on other teams. It's not the same energy and excitement, and you feel it.
So, tell me about the first time you were on the ice during the anthem. What was that like for you?
Well, the first time, that was like 2006 or 7, and there was about 3,000 fans at those games. So it was pretty quiet. It was pretty quiet. But I remember some playoff games. The building was shaking, and you're getting goosebumps. And I think it was the year we went to the conference finals, and then the year that we won, I think it was the Vancouver series where, I mean, it was, I'll never forget the noise and what it was like during that anthem. And then remember game 1 of the Stanley Cup finals, the year we won in 2010, that game 1 was the absolute loudest national anthem I've ever heard in my life.
Awesome. All right, Scott, one more Chicago question for you. Who is the mayor of Chicago right now? Rahm Emanuel, okay. So there hasn't been a Chicago athlete to run for office in Chicago itself, although Mike Ditka has flirted with threatening that he would. So what Blackhawk do you think could run for office in Chicago?
I mean, John, I gotta go with Taves. Like,
Taves?
anything he says, like, I do. So, like, he could be my mayor any day.
Brian, you've been here, you left, you come back. Which guy on this team could run for office? Could you see in 15 years running for office in Chicago? Who's the politician in that dressing room?
Well, I think we all know Rocky could probably win hands down right now. The politician, yeah, I think you might have to have a dual ticket. It could happen, but I could see Dunk. I don't think the city would run very. It'd be a little erratic, but one day he'd come in normal, and the next day he'd be a little bit more crazy. So that'd be interesting.
Okay, as we wrap things up on our Chicago panel, let's go down the line and just name your favorite thing about Blackhawk fans. And you can't repeat what someone else says. So you have to name something favorite about Blackhawk fans. Brian.
Is this a one-word answer?
Sure.
Passion. I stole yours, Vinny. All right, I'll come down and help you.
Adam.
The noise they make.
The noise
Yeah,
they make.
how loud they are.
It's getting harder. Ryan.
You took mine. Probably the numbers, how many there are around.
The pure number.
Yeah.
Vinny.
I was gonna say passion because I believe he's the most passionate fans in the NHL. But it's just amazing to see how excited everyone is to be here and excited how everyone is every day. So excitement.
Excitement. Scott.
You're informed. You know what's going on with us and the team, so that's rare. That's a rare thing. So.
Awesome. Let's hear it for our panel here today, and thank you all so much. Vinny Hinestroza, Scott Darling, Ryan Hartman, Adam Burish, and Brian Campbell. Thank you, everybody.